Imagine buying a four-bedroom house with the exact same tap of your phone that you use to buy a morning coffee.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds impossible.
Right, like no lawyers, no month-long escrow periods, none of those hidden closing costs that just sneak up on you.
Just a completely frictionless transaction.
Exactly. Just a multi-million-dollar asset transferred to your name in milliseconds with absolute, unshakable certainty. So, welcome to your custom-tailored deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, our mission is to explore a really dense, highly technical, but honestly just revolutionary excerpt from a text called Immutable Foundations, Decentralized Real Estate Automation.
Yeah, and it is a fascinating document.
It really is. We're going to break down how this single document proposes a total reinvention of how residential land is bought, sold, and recorded.
Basically pitching a reality where the whole agonizing multi-month siege of buying a house is just
Gone, replaced by instant, completely automated digital transactions. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, to really appreciate the gravity of the proposed solution, we first have to examine exactly what the text identifies as the problem with our current property markets.
Right. We can't grasp the cure without looking at the disease.
Exactly. And the text points a very sharp finger at the foundational structure of how we handle property titles today.
Yeah, the document definitely does not hold back. It targets what it calls the sluggish bureaucracy of traditional property titles.
Sluggish is a good word for it.
I mean, we all know the current system is painful. I tend to picture it like a massively inefficient, slow-moving assembly line.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Right. You are the buyer at one end, the seller is at the other, and to get the legal ownership of that house from them to you, the paperwork has to pass through this gauntlet of different stations.
And the source specifically identifies those stations as our reliance on third-party intermediaries.
Right.
And at every single one of those stations, you encounter the ever-present risk of what the text calls human error.
Because every intermediary in that assembly line is essentially a toll booth.
A toll booth, yeah, I like that.
You've got the title searchers, the escrow officers, the local county clerks, the bank underwriters.
A whole army of people.
And what happens at a toll booth? You have to stop your car, you have to wait in line, and you have to pay a fee.
And every single third-party intermediary slows the process down.
Exactly. Like a clerk misreads a physical document, or an escrow officer transposes a digit on a wire transfer.
Or someone simply goes on vacation for a week.
Yes. Which halts the entire assembly line.
Huh.
But let me ask you this, because I want to make sure I'm reading the source right. Does the text imply that humans are the only bottleneck here? Or is it the bureaucratic structure itself that's just fundamentally broken?
That's a crucial distinction. The text provides a calm, analytical, yet unyielding indictment of the structure itself, rather than just blaming the individuals operating within it.
So it's not just saying, oh, we have lazy escrow agents.
Right. It doesn't argue that we have clumsy title clerks. It argues that the entire bureaucratic architecture of sequential manual verification is fundamentally flawed.
Because relying on a daisy chain of human intermediaries to verify and move massive amounts of wealth is just inherently inefficient.
Precisely.
Like, even if we trained everyone perfectly, the structure still guarantees a bottleneck.
Because you are relying on localized asynchronous systems, the bank's database doesn't talk perfectly to the county clerk's filing cabinet,
Right.
which doesn't talk perfectly to the escrow company's ledger. The friction is built into the design.
So the system is working as intended. It's just a terrible intention.
Exactly. And the text's antidote to this structural flaw is what it calls decentralized smart contract automation.
Decentralized smart contract automation, that's a mouthful.
It is, but it basically proposes removing the human element entirely from the execution phase of the transaction.
So you don't train the people at the toll booth to be faster.
No.
You demolish the toll booth entirely and build a digital fast lane.
That's the idea.
Which sounds amazing in theory. I mean, everyone loves the idea of cutting red tape.
Sure.
But removing the toll booth creates a massive logistical problem. Complaining about bureaucracy is easy, but how does this automation practically replace a living, breathing human middleman?
Yeah.
Like, a smart contract doesn't have eyes. It can't read a printed bank statement to see if the buyer actually wired the funds. So how does the network even know?
That is the pivotal question,
Yeah.
right? And it leads us directly into the specific technological mechanics proposed in the text.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics.
We are moving from the theory of the problem to the hard-coded reality of the solution. The text gets incredibly specific here.
Right, it mentions a very specific network.
Yes, it states that the system works by deploying Cardano's Plutus scripts to trigger instant trustless deed transfers upon payment verification.
Wait, there's a lot there.
It also explicitly details hard-coding escrow conditions into the ledger.
Okay, there is a mountain of dense terminology to unpack there. I want to start with a word that the text relies on heavily, which is trustless.
Ah, yes. Trustless.
To an outsider, or really anyone in normal conversation, trustless sounds like a bad thing. It sounds like a broken system or a scam.
Does sound negative, yeah.
Like, doesn't it mean we can't trust the system? How does the source try to flip that narrative to prove that a lack of trust is actually a mathematical upgrade?
What's fascinating here is that in the context of cryptographic systems, trustless is actually the highest possible compliment you can give.
Really? How so?
Because trust is only necessary when there is a vulnerability, when there is a possibility of betrayal or failure.
Oh, I see.
When you hand your down payment to an escrow officer in a traditional real estate deal, you have to trust them.
Right, I'm placing my faith in a human being.
Exactly. You have to trust they won't abscond with the funds, that their bank won't freeze the account, and that they will legally hand the deed to you once the check clears.
And human beings, as the text notes, are prone to human error and occasionally outright fraud.
Precisely. So a trustless system means that the requirement for human trust has been engineered entirely out of the equation.
You don't need to trust them because you don't even need them.
You no longer have to hope the counterparty is honest. You are relying on the deterministic execution of code.
Okay, so how do the Cardano Plutus scripts actually achieve that determinism? Because we all know escrow is a necessary evil, right?
Usually, yes.
It's a neutral third party holding the bag to make sure nobody gets scammed. But this text is arguing that we can replace that neutral human with a script.
Completely replaceable.
How does the script verify anything without looking at a bank account?
It solves what technologists call the oracle problem.
The oracle problem.
Right. It solves it by requiring that both the currency and the asset live in the exact same digital environment.
Wait, what does that mean practically?
For this to work, the fiat money, your dollars, is represented as a stable digital token on the Cardano ledger.
Okay, so digital dollars.
Simultaneously, the physical deed to the house is digitized into a unique token, often called an NFT, on that very same ledger.
Oh, so they're speaking the exact same language on the exact same network.
Exactly.
The script doesn't need to call Wells Fargo because the money is already sitting on the blockchain.
Yes. A Plutus script on the Cardano network is essentially a highly secure, automated if-then statement.
An if-then statement.
Right. The text describes using these scripts to hard code escrow conditions into the ledger. The code itself becomes an unbending mathematical lockbox.
So instead of a human holding a scale and waiting for both sides to balance, the Plutus script holds the digitized deed and watches the blockchain for the digitized funds.
Exactly. The script is programmed with a brutally simple set of conditions.
Like what?
If buyer A deposits the verified tokenized payment into the digital escrow address, then and only then the tokenized deed is instantly transferred to buyer A's wallet.
And the money.
And the funds are instantly routed to seller B.
Wow. And because it's a decentralized script, there is no underwriter reviewing the file at 4:55 p.m. on a Friday and deciding to push it to Monday.
No weekends in cryptography.
The text explicitly states this happens upon payment verification. The code checks the ledger, sees the exact cryptographic signature of the funds, and the transfer is triggered in real time.
It executes flawlessly every single time. It doesn't require a processing fee to a human middleman. It doesn't lose the paperwork behind a filing cabinet.
And it doesn't care what day of the week it is.
Right. The Plutus script simply evaluates the math. The mathematical conditions are either met or they are not.
That completely flips the paradigm of a transaction. You aren't trusting a person to do their job. You are trusting the absolute certainty of cryptography.
It's a massive shift.
We are talking about replacing an entire multi-billion-dollar industry of title companies, escrow services, and intermediary lawyers with a few lines of unbreakable open-source code.
Which is an economic earthquake, quite frankly. But we have to look even further because the text isn't just focused on making the individual sale between you and a seller faster or cheaper.
It goes bigger.
Much bigger. The mechanical how the Plutus script's replacing the human escrow is just the engine.
Okay.
The text points to a much larger macro-level implication. for how human society actually records ownership.
Right, the ultimate end goal. The document states that the true purpose of deploying this architecture is to ensure residential land registries remain immutable, transparent, and globally accessible.
Immutable, transparent, and globally accessible. Those three words fundamentally rewrite the nature of property rights.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because right now, how do we prove who owns a piece of land?
It's surprisingly archaic.
If you want to know who owns a specific parcel in a specific county, you literally have to rely on the records kept in that specific physical local government office.
Right, you are relying on a fragmented network of thousands of disparate county clerks and registries of deeds.
And they don't talk to each other.
Not at all. Some of them have modernized their digital databases, while others are literally still referencing paper maps and physical filing cabinets from the 1970s.
It's wild. I picture it as thousands of dusty, disconnected local filing cabinets scattered all over the country.
That's pretty accurate.
It's siloed, it's incredibly slow to search, and honestly, it feels fragile. But this text is proposing we replace all those isolated, vulnerable cabinets with a single, permanent, digital glass vault.
A glass vault.
Yeah, a vault that the entire world can look into simultaneously at any time.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to explore the absolute gravity of that word, immutable.
Okay, let's talk about immutable.
In cryptographic terms, immutable means computationally unchangeable, permanent.
Like carved in stone.
Better than stone. Once a record of ownership is written to a decentralized ledger through those automated Plutus scripts, it cannot be altered, quietly deleted, or forged by anyone.
Let me push back on that, though, because nothing digital feels truly permanent. We hear about hacks all the time.
That's a fair concern.
Couldn't a sophisticated bad actor or even a corrupt government official just go into the system and change the name on the deed back to themselves?
Not in a properly decentralized network like Cardano. That's the power of your glass vault analogy.
Oh, how so?
It isn't just that the vault is made of glass.
Yeah.
It's that millions of independent computers around the world are simultaneously auditing the contents of that vault every single second.
So they're all watching it?
Yes. To change a record maliciously, a hacker wouldn't just have to pick one lock. They would have to simultaneously overpower the cryptographic consensus of the entire global network.
Which is...
Mathematically, it is virtually impossible.
Wow. So a transparent, immutable registry means your ownership can never be secretly altered.
Never.
It can't be destroyed because a physical courthouse flooded or caught fire. Your deed isn't a piece of paper in a drawer. It's a mathematical certainty replicated across the globe.
It shifts land ownership from a localized, potentially fragile system, which we've established is subject to sluggish bureaucracy and human error, to a state of absolute permanence. The ledger becomes the single, undeniable source of truth.
Which perfectly explains the globally accessible and transparent elements the text champions.
Exactly.
If the ledger is public and distributed, anyone can verify the chain of title instantly.
And that transparency is what eliminates the need for the title search industry entirely.
Really? Entirely.
Think about it. You don't need to hire a professional to spend 3 weeks digging through county archives to ensure the seller has the right to sell the property.
Or to check if there's a hidden lien against the house.
Right, because the ledger's entire history is visible to everyone.
Ah, I see. If the seller didn't have the clear, unencumbered token representing the deed, the Plutus script simply wouldn't execute the trade.
Precisely. The smart contract acts as its own instant title search.
It just refuses to work if the math doesn't add up.
It all ties back together into a closed, perfectly efficient loop. The global transparency enables the trustless transaction.
Because everyone can see the board.
Exactly.
Ah.
You can confidently hardcode the escrow conditions
Yeah.
because the network can instantly verify exactly who owns the asset and who holds the funds.
It really is a completely different paradigm for defining reality.
It really is.
The text starts by pointing out the agonizing friction of buying a house. But the solution it proposes isn't just, a faster way to process mortgage paperwork.
No, it's much deeper than that.
It's arguing that reality, in terms of property rights, should be defined by an immutable, decentralized mathematical ledger rather than by a localized human authority stamping a piece of paper.
We are talking about transitioning from handing a paper cashier's check to a stranger and hoping they do their job,
Right?
to executing a flawless transfer of wealth on a permanent global grid. It is the ultimate realization of decentralized real estate automation.
We have covered a massive amount of technical and conceptual ground today. Let's do a quick distillation of the journey we've just taken through this source material.
Sounds good.
We started by examining the deeply flawed architecture of the traditional real estate system. The text pinpointed sluggish bureaucracy, reliance on third-party intermediaries, and the ever-present danger of human error as the fundamental bottlenecks in how property titles are handled.
And we explored how those intermediaries act as toll booths, structurally guaranteeing delays and friction, regardless of how well-intentioned the humans operating them might be.
And then we dove into the mechanics of the cure. By tokenizing both the currency and the property deed on the same network, the system can use Cardano's Plutus scripts to hard-code escrow conditions directly into the ledger.
Creating those trustless deed transfers we unpacked.
Right, where the code itself acts as an unbending, neutral arbiter, instantly swapping verified payment for legal ownership without a single human middleman taking a cut or slowing things down.
Which ultimately leads to the text's macro vision.
Completely replacing fragile, localized county records with residential land registries that are mathematically immutable, completely transparent, and globally accessible.
It's a huge vision.
It is. And for you listening to this right now, I want you to truly imagine what that future looks like. Think about the friction you've experienced in your own life with banks, lawyers, and closing costs.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
It is. Now imagine a reality where buying your next piece of property is as instant and automated as sending an email.
Just a click.
You find the house, your tokenized funds are verified by the network, the Plutus script executes, and instantly, immutably, you are the recognized owner on a global ledger.
No waiting weeks for paperwork to clear.
Just a seamless, mathematically pure transfer of value. So what does this all mean?
Well, it means we're staring at the blueprint for a perfectly efficient, frictionless system of ownership.
Right.
But reading through the source's absolute faith in this technology, it leaves us with a critical, almost philosophical problem to ponder.
Oh, what's that?
The text champions eliminating human error by making these residential land registries immutable through smart contracts. Unchangeable.
Yes, permanent.
But if a registry is truly immutable, wait, let me rephrase that. If a registry is completely unchangeable, what happens if the original real-world data entered into the digital system was somehow flawed before the automation took over?
Oh, wow. That is a terrifying thought.
Right. If a sluggish bureaucracy from the old paper-based system made a mistake on a property boundary line 50 years ago.
Or missed a contested inheritance.
Exactly. And we digitize that specific mistake and lock it into an immutable, decentralized ledger.
Then it's stuck there forever.
By eliminating the humans, have we actually created a perfect system? Or have we simply created a system where a localized historical mistake can never ever be undone?
Because automation creates unprecedented speed and immutability creates absolute permanence.
But permanence is only a virtue if the underlying truth being permanently recorded is completely flawless to begin with.
You can't just ask the smart contract for a refund. It executes exactly what it is told. Forever.
Forever.
That is an incredible and slightly chilling thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
Keep questioning the evolving systems around you, and as always, look closely at the toll booths in your own life. Until next time.